Oops.
I'm going to say going.
It's hard to do. All right, let's get started.
Super hard.
You didn't say what I did wrong.
I was going to try to avoid that. Once I got into
say
it,
don't.
I thought I just won't even. There's no sense in
Well, I
going
need to
there.
know so I don't do it.
You don't do
anymore.
anything wrong.
No, you're perfect.
You're perfect.
Yeah. Sure.
You do not do anything wrong.
Ever, never have.
Liars.
It's always
Y'all
me.
talk about me behind my back. I know you do.
No, we don't.
There's no,
We have a
there's no
separate-
video evidence of
We
it.
have a separate group text without you.
Oh
Without
my
you.
God, y'all probably do.
All right,
Don't
let's
put
get
anything
started.
in text.
Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 91 with Brandi Marter. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, you should be because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. I want to let you know that the LHRL podcast is censored. If you have children in the car, you should be safe. I do my best to bleep out any curse words that go flying. Some of the topics may not be child friendly, but we do keep it relatively clean, and you should be safe. My name is Wilson Horrell. I'm one of your hosts. To my right, I have the hottest woman in the entire planet and also the most intelligent one of the strongest ones, and definitely the combination of strong and tan. She has that market cornered. Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, also known as Jack and Tan.
Hello.
How are you, Doc?
Good. I almost said good morning. And you just said how smart I was.
You are smart.
Well, for you, as much as you work, it could be.
It might as well be.
True.
By the way, did you get your on-call telephone?
Oh, it's in my car. I got to get that.
Are you supposed to get that now?
No,
like
no,
if
no.
somebody's dying or freaking
No,
out?
it starts at
well,
11 tonight.
Okay.
I'm good for a few hours.
She gets calls at all hours of the night.
It's crazy you don't hear the phone.
It's because I'm asleep.
Ugh.
I sleep hard.
Good thing she doesn't sleep through it.
Yeah.
You do such a good job coaching. I want to tell you that.
Thank you.
I love coming to your CrossFit classes.
Well, thanks. Because I usually walk away and be like, why didn't I tell him this? Or why did
You
I
be
say
quiet.
that?
We haven't gotten to you yet.
Hey, shut your mouth over
right.
there, sir.
I'm trying to be nice here.
Yeah.
You're an excellent CrossFit coach.
Thank you.
You do a great job of balancing like the work with the fun and not trying to be commandeering. Isn't that the commanding? You don't like boss people around too much. You know how sometimes people pretend like that this is CrossFit is like their entire lives,
Yeah.
and that their role as a coach extends past like somebody that tells you what to do for an hour. Like comes into your home and tells you when you should and shouldn't be
Smacks the
working
pork
out.
chop out of your hand.
You're right.
50 burpees.
Next to my wonderfully attractive wife is Ms. Brandi Marter of Bedrock Eats and Sweets.
Hi,
How are you, Brandi?
I'm good. I didn't realize this was censored, so help me, sir.
We'll take
Help
care
me.
of you.
Oh, he can.
Yeah, it all goes.
It's not
deep.
okay for us to do it. It's totally okay for you to do it.
So
Yeah.
just hover your finger over that button.
I've got a little thing right here, and I won't do it to you. I give Vaughn like just an evil look, like a teacher.
I have a niece and a nephew. Like I can dial it back. I know how to, but I'm just gonna have to concentrate.
Do you want to get out a slew of them
Nope.
real quick?
Nope.
Like
It's just you
Tourette's?
said that, and I felt like my heart started beating really fast. I'm like, oh God, okay.
I
All
don't
right.
even know why I do it. It just kind of evolved into that. It didn't used to be, and then I thought, well,
Well, it's like you said.
No, and
you
it's-
like to listen to the podcast with your kids, so
Yeah.
you want. it to
But
be
you get that
content they
rating. You have to put the adult censor thing on iTunes if you curse. Right? It says explicit lyrics.
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
an honor system thing, though, right? We don't have any of
Probably.
that.
Yeah,
doubt
but I
anybody's-
feel like since we'll talk about this maybe, but I'm obsessed with that top 200 iTunes thing where you have the top 200 podcasts in fitness
Yeah.
and nutrition, and we're not on that list yet. But I feel like if you say we cuss on this show, that's like a demerit maybe. Like maybe you're at 199, but
Yeah.
somebody sees the explicit thing and doesn't subscribe to get you to that 200.
Well, you
You know
can't
what I
go,
mean?
you can't
And
go
so-
wrong with it. You
It
can't
just-
go wrong with censoring a podcast.
It just sounds it's more professional.
That's right.
And Brandi, I don't want to challenge you, but just know that I've cussed more on this podcast than you probably will. So
All right.
Oh, it's a lot.
Good.
And I just put,
Solid.
put
That's
down
good.
the time here, and then I go back to the beep
Good.
it. Sitting next to Brandi, speaking of professional, we have the Reverend Vaughn Ross.
Amanda got a kick out of that. Wow.
I'm
Sometimes,
sorry. That didn't mean. I didn't mean.
sometimes too much of a kick out of things. You know it?
Wow. She unplugged my mic, but
Oh, I did not. I didn't touch it. I touched the table.
wow.
Did your mic just
Can
go
you hear?
bad?
No, I can't hear anything, but that's okay. I can hear myself and I can hear you talk. So
All right. How was your week? I know how your week was. You just got back from Disney World.
I was in Disney World last week. I was on vacation, and that was fantastic. It sure was. Now I can hear myself.
How was it coming back home? You come from the happiest place on earth, and then you come back to bills and stress and whining kids. You just start slapping people around.
No. I have the opposite effect of I haven't been on vacation like that in like a year,
Yeah.
right? To where you're on vacation, like nobody's gonna call you and be like, "Hey, something's broke." Something.
people are carrying equipment out of your gym.
Let me right.
Your gym's broke,
Let me
and so are you.
Let me rephrase that. Nobody is calling you saying something is broken, or they need you to fix something. Like it's all you're on vacation. You can do whatever you want to, and you can just enjoy it. And I like that. And when you get that opportunity to just kind of do whatever you want and think about whatever you want, that's awesome. And so I really enjoyed it, and I was ready to come back. All at the same time.
I'm sure your kids had a large time. Y'all are a Disney family.
We are a huge Disney family, like more than lots of folks.
Yeah.
We love going to Disney World.
I
I'm
think-
excited about going to Disney World with you.
Me
in
too,
January.
because he can take us wherever he knows the whole place, the kit and caboodle.
I do.
Yeah, we're having a conversation soon. I'm going to Harry Potter World.
I don't know what said. See, that's the thing. Like we are a Walt Disney World. I've never been to Universal. So.
Man, I'm 37-year-old woman, and I'm more excited about Harry Potter World.
Look at Amanda.
I mean, it's a girls' trip. Like, my boyfriend will not go with me. He has
Oh, wow.
zero interest. So he planned a trip to, like, Texas to go see a guy friend of his, and I planned, like, a retaliatory girl trip, which turned into Harry Potter World, which I feel like is not retaliatory at all. Like,
Well,
he doesn't care. But
I've never been there, but ran into a friend of ours, Anthony, and his family in Disney World, and they took a day and went to Universal, and we were talking to him about it, and he said, if you don't like Harry Potter, there's no reason to go to this one. I guess there's a couple of different Universal parks, but apparently one of them is all Harry Potter. Like, he
Well,
was like, it's
yeah, so
all-
there's Universal Studios, and then there's Universal Islands of Adventure. Islands of Adventure is where Harry Potter Land is at, but even Islands of Adventure is split up into like 5 different areas. There's like a Dr. Seuss area, there's a Marvel area, there's Harry Potter Land. and I
Jurassic
can't
Park. Is it Jurassic Park?
Think, maybe.
The one I went to, Jurassic Park, was next door to us because it was really weird that there's
Yeah, that actually does
there's
sound right.
Hogwarts, and then there's the doors to Jurassic Park to go into, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. But anyway,
Yeah.
off
yeah.
topic, but there can't be a Marvel Land in Universal since Disney owns Marvel.
there's the Hulk roller coaster.
I don't know. I was
Yeah,
just,
so-
Speaking
so
of
it
the
just
Hulk,
turns
before
out-
we go any further, our cameraman is here,
oh, sorry.
Brian Swanson. I have to check these things off mentally, or else I sit over here and I get anxiety. And I want to get around the horn, get everybody introduced. Now continue with your story. It's great to have you, Brian. I
Thank
love it when you're here. I love your energy, and thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you for inviting me. So you're wrong, is the short answer. And that is because
That's
like
why I like you being
Marvel
here.
sold the movie rights or sold some of their movie rights to, and I don't think it's directly to Universal, but it's somebody that Universal now owns. And so Universal does have the rights for those rides like X-Men, Spider-Man, the Hulk, and a couple other things. And it's only recently that Disney's agreed to purchase a big part of Fox, which actually brings all of the movie rights back under Disney.
Which we probably don't know,
So smart.
but Disney probably owns Universal as well
Well, not yet, but
in
we're
some
getting
roundabout way.
We're getting there.
Can you
Right.
see where there's a degree of liability in just opening your mouth around Swanson? Like nothing that I ever say is true or factual or has any like data driven stuff, and he's got all this knowledge. So when you say something and you're just kind of trying to pass the time, he knows the real stuff.
I'm a nerd about some of that stuff, so.
You retain knowledge very well. Are you a statistical guy?
I'm a data geek, yeah.
Like you're Notre Dame football. You know all the players. You know all the.
I know a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know any of them.
I don't know them like historically. I just know them as long as I've been watching them and keeping up with them and stuff. My sons know like all of the teams like back to the 60s.
Yep.
They're super fans.
But really, all I want to know is what restaurants to go to in Orlando. So whenever you feel
I
like
got 'em all, and-
that
and-
went off on a huge tangent.
Yeah.
This is one big tangent. We may never get to.
Whoops.
You would.
My bad.
Again, we stay on property on Disney.
They never
World.
leave.
We don't.
We're gonna do that too.
Right. So, I would be embarrassed to tell you all the food that I ate last week. It was out of control. So yes, I can definitely recommend. restaurants.
Outside of Disney, some of the best restaurants in Orlando are actually on Universal City Walk. Like that's where Emerald's restaurant is.
We'll all
That's
have
where
a conversation about this because if you Google Orlando, it's one of those weird cities. It's like it's a vacuum. There are no like articles about restaurants or where to go, like eater
right.
articles or Thrillist or any of that stuff. None of that. Nothing about Orlando. It seems like
just a million different
and
websites.
I'm sure
to
there are
buy
wonderful
tickets
things
from.
about Orlando, and
Right.
I'm
Park
completely
tickets.
wrong. But it seems like it's just a lot of chain restaurants and bigger things and Disney things, and like I just want to know where to go. Like,
Sure.
and I can't find anyone to tell me.
I like the idea of Justin probably being like, you know what? I think I'm going to go, spend $175 over the weekend with my friends in Texas. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go spend $8,000 at Harry Potter World, and you can kiss it.
Like it's stupid. It's so. I mean, again, like Justin and I have been together for 7 years. Like, there's no danger of anything in our relationship. But like he was gonna go see this guy friend of his in Texas that I didn't know, and I'm like, where'd he come from? And like, why are you going to Texas? And just acting like an idiot. And I was like, well, I'm gonna plan a girls trip. And then it originally was like, we're going to the beach. We're gonna wear bikinis and drink liquor. And then now it's Harry Potter
Now I'm
World. I
gonna
feel
go
like
see
this
Harry
is just
Potter.
melted into like the least scary thing for him humanly possible, which is
Right,
us
right.
in a Disney theme park.
Not worried
fully
about you picking up dudes in
Yeah.
Harry Potter
No,
land.
I don't think so. I don't
Child
think so.
However-
services will
However-
be so close by.
However, I feel like I have to say there is a movie that a dude filmed. It's a black and white movie. He filmed it all in Disney World. It's a horror, it's the worst movie you'll ever watch. But when I started watching it, I had to watch it. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but if you Google horror movie filmed in Disney World, this thing will come up. And you have to watch it.
Was that something you've just been waiting to say, or was that relative to
It just popped
anything
into
that-
my head when she said,
I gotcha.
Yeah, and so I couldn't stop watching. It's a terrible movie, but this guy goes to the park and he like starts following these girls around. He's married and got kids, and with his family at the parks, and they're staying at Contemporary, and he sees this girl from like Italy or something, and he's like fascinated with her. So he follows her around and like starts hitting on her, and she starts hitting on him. Then he ends up in a hotel room with this other lady who's like this weird witch lady, and she turns him.
Did somebody tell Vaughn he's being super random?
We've got a review.
Oh
We've got a review I'd like
he
to read.
He can edit all that out.
But I don't want to.
no, it's great. I think you should leave it in.
Sounds like a great movie.
He turns into a cat, and he's like
Stop.
vomiting.
Yeah, really.
Stop.
Oh no.
That is too
goodness.
funny.
Somebody else managed to find their way through the myriad of switches and buttons that you have to click to actually leave a review.
They did.
It's awesome.
They did. And listening to everything that we've talked about so far, I can't imagine why that lady left us that 1-star review that was like, they don't ever talk about anything. Why would you leave them 5 stars? They never talk about running and lifting. Sometimes they have guests on the show and they just talk. This is by Ashley Boyd,
Okay.
and it's titled Sorry, Amanda, Not a 1-star.
Aw.
It's a 5-star review.
Okay, good.
March 13th, 2018. Being completely new to any fitness community, this podcast has educated me on many different topics in a fun way. I enjoy listening to people from different backgrounds who are a part of this community. Great podcast. And that, Ashley, makes me extremely happy,
That's very nice.
as all reviews do. So, Brandi,
All reviews do?
well, just getting a review
All the good
makes me
reviews.
happy.
Oh,
Not the 1-star.
Nothing is more terrifying than opening up my email and seeing like someone has left you a Google review.
I
Oh my
bet.
God, shiver. I never ever look at Yelp ever.
Do you not?
Oh no.
Just because it's filled with mean people?
No, I like well, because it doesn't matter what you do. Like people are sometimes just nasty, and then like you might have competitors or whatever. And we've been really lucky so far. I don't want to say anything about any of this. I feel like I'm jinxing myself, but as of right now, like we have a high Yelp rating, but one person could go on there and just lambast the restaurant, and then it would look bad. And because it's mine, I take them very personally. So
Yeah.
if somebody leaves me a negative review, I'm going back and looking at their receipt and who was working and what was this and who do I need to talk to, and I'm like shaking and so yeah. So I while you said all reviews, I thought, do you
There
really
was a-
appreciate
Well,
all
they've been.
reviews?
Amanda's been begging for a 1-star review.
Why-
And I
why?
can't take
Because
that.
you're legit when you have like a hater.
Okay, I understand that.
And I see the point there, but I take everything so
With
personal.
Wilson
Yeah,
on this
me too.
podcast, everybody just loves it.
So, would it be fair for us to swap reviews? Like, if I leave you a Yelp review, will you
haven't
leave
left a
us
review
an
yet?
iTunes review?
Have you ever sat down and eaten in the restaurant?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know you've gotten grab and go stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
But
been
you
a few
okay.
times. Yeah.
Okay. Then
But just to be clear, I would
then
ask
good.
you to leave an iTunes review even if you'd never listened to the podcast.
you would?
Of course.
That's unfair. That is unfair, sir.
Is it unfair?
I mean, isn't it?
That's unethical.
It may be unethical,
But what do
but
I
not
know? I
unfair.
talk about horror movies that were filmed in Disney. World.
Right?
Yeah, but ethics and fairness are two completely different things.
No, we need to swap reviews, but I'm not going to be the 1-star.
Well, Brandi
let's see how the rest of the
Brandi
podcast
is the owner of yeah. Brandi is the owner of Bedrock Eats and Sweets, which is the area's I would say, is it the only primal paleo only?
I think there are other
Restaurant?
places in the city that have options for those people. We're just, as far as I know, we're the only dedicated restaurant.
Is all of your food Whole30 approved?
No, sir.
Is it not?
No,
At
no.
one point in time, was it?
No.
There are a lot of options that are, though, right?
But Whole30 is different. I mean, I won't delve into all of that. But Whole30, like I could make a waffle with all Whole30 approved ingredients, but it's not Whole30 because it is a waffle, because they don't allow pastry or bread products, even if it's made with their ingredients.
Really?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So, I'm not going to say that because I have a lot of customers that are very, very interested in Whole30, and
Yeah,
and
I can say that 'cause
But
I
I
eat
do
like crap.
I understand what they're thinking behind it. I don't follow that.
Yeah.
But they're trying to break them of a habit of wanting pastry all the time and wanting
You have
like
an
they want
emotional
them.
attachment to that food.
Whole30 means they want them to eat whole foods, and so they're trying to keep them on fruits and vegetables and nuts and things like that. And it's like when people go completely no sugar, like no honey, no any of that, so that they can break that habit that you formed over the course of your entire life being fed sugar. So I understand. And I've done a Whole30 a couple of times. I don't feel like I need to do it again. I feel like I know what I'm eating these days. But I think it's really good for people who are just starting out on either paleo or primal or just trying to reset their diet in general. I think Whole30 is a great thing for people like that. But yeah, as far as I know, Bedrock is the only paleo / primal / whatever we have become over the course of the years restaurant in the city.
How many years has it been around?
We-
have killed it.
Thanks.
You have absolutely killed it.
Thanks. We've been in the spot that we're in now. We've been there for 3 years. We were operational for about 2.5, 3 years before that as just like a paleo meal service where we delivered prepackaged products to people that ordered online, and we still do that. But then we opened the restaurant to be able to cook to order, so that people could have the food hot, when they came in and sit down and have a restaurant experience instead of just getting reheatable food, which is great, but not as much fun as something that's made, on site.
You must be going round the clock to fill all those orders, basically like a caterer and a...
And you've seen our kitchen. It's not large. We use that kitchen to capacity.
Oh, you use that kitchen, you use the restaurant to fulfill all your
Wow.
Everything.
outsource.
Because
not
we're a
outsource,
gluten-free
but-
kitchen, it would be a lot to try to either rent out another commercial space, like the process you have to go through to make a space gluten-free. You just need a dedicated gluten-free space. And so we just use the restaurant all hours, all the time.
We used to ride out to YOLO
Yeah.
to pick up your stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was where we started. And so back then we couldn't say the words gluten-free because we were inside of a bakery.
And was that the only place that you were serving at that time? Was that you at one point in time? Were you just YOLO?
Well, we had, because I started there, I was a pastry chef, and then I ran the bakery in that gelato shop. And so we started doing like paleo packaged goods and selling it in that bakery. And then we added little grab and go kiosks in a bunch of different gyms and other places around the city. And then we started delivering the food.
Dang.
Are you still doing the grab and go stuff in the gyms?
We are doing it in some. It became one of those things because we package the product, and so it's not a manufactured product with preservatives and things that's going to keep it good for 20 days. Like our product, like once we put it out, we got about 5 days, and so going to all of these different places and trying to make sure that everything was current and not expired, and if it didn't sell, we had to throw it away. And let me tell you, food costs is no joke. So we don't throw away product. And so that was just a way for us to control it, was to stop having it in all of these different places and make it to where we're in 3 places now. 2 of them are CrossFit gyms, and then 1 of them is a downtown location. Otherwise, you just have to order it and get it delivered to you. That way we make sure that nobody's getting anything that's on the verge of expiring or is already expired because they didn't happen to look at it before they grabbed it.
Well, that had to be a pain in the butt because we had you would bring a fridge and everything, like to the to the gym, and like
we have so many refrigerators
put
now.
my food in it.
Like right, for one person to have food delivered, and the fridge would break, and you'd have to come get another one.
It was the worst.
That had to be a
It was
nightmare
the worst.
to
It was a
manage.
lot. Well, in anything, I feel like, but we had to work out the logistics in the beginning. We didn't necessarily know what we were doing. We were just kind of trying to make sure that people that wanted this type of food were going to get it. And so we just had to work it out. And in the beginning, we did it, I feel like, the most complicated way possible. And that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You learn lessons, and it was good. But yeah, driving out to Olive Branch twice a week on Monday and Thursday, or sometimes like 4 days a week for this one person that was ordering, and they would order like $10 worth of stuff for each delivery, and we were driving like 40 miles both ways. Like, this is great. This is good. But yeah, it was a learning experience, and we learned a lot from it, and I'm glad for it. But now we've condensed all of those processes.
Do you feel like everything runs more smoothly now, or is it just the bigger you get, the more problems you have?
We're doing better. We're learning still as we go, and we're lucky in that we grew slowly. I started with, it was essentially just me in the beginning. Like, I'd make all the food. I'd get to the shop at, 3 a.m. I'd make all the food. I'd pack it in my truck. I would drive it all around to all these different places. And then now, like, we have, 12 employees, and all of those processes are streamlined, the online menu and stuff like that. But when I opened the restaurant, outside of cooking for the Grizzlies, I had never cooked to order. And so I just feel like every step in this process, I just keep diving into stuff that I have never, ever done and really don't know what I'm doing, but I think it's a good idea. And so that's kind of the way it worked with the restaurant. It's like, let's just open it. Let's just open it. I'm gonna figure it out, because you don't have a choice. Like with your internet thing, either it works or it doesn't. And so like we opened the shop, and then I was nauseous for, I don't know, like a year, or like the first 4 top that came in the restaurant. I was like, I have 7 things to cook. I can't do this. And so like it was terrifying. But now we're 3 years in, and yes, that part is better. That part is easier. We started with like an 8-item menu, and now like we have, tons of stuff that we do. But like you said, it might be a little bit of a Pandora's box, because as soon as you learn one thing, then it's time to add something else and to expand it just a little bit more. But
so goes life. I mean, that's the
right.
way it should be.
No, it is the way it should be, and I'm glad for that, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to grow in the way that we have. Because I think a lot of restaurants get trampled in the beginning because they open and they're not ready for all of it. So we've had a chance. We've been lucky enough to have a chance to get ready for each step in the process. And every time we bring something else in, I know we can handle it and it'll be fine. It's going to be hard, and there's going to be a lot of foul language and a lot of late nights. But then you figure it out and it gets easier and you do something else. And so we just, speaking of, we just modified like our whole online menu to be macro friendly.
Nice.
So that's going to have me wanting to shoot myself for the next 6 weeks as those menus rotate online. But you do what you need to do first to keep your customers like healthy and happy, and you got to keep them interested. And you can't lose your core. Like I feel like a lot of people keep trying to reinvent their restaurants or whatever business it may be, because it's not making as much money as you want it to be and stuff like that. I think you can modify, but you have to keep that core. And so we're still bedrock, but like paleo was first, and then we brought in some primal, and then now we brought in some macro friendly things. And just as new things keep popping up, we keep trying to find ways to incorporate them into what we do. It's fun. It keeps it new. I had a tendency before I opened my own place to just get bored with everything. So I'm never bored.
Well, you're like a legit started from scratch store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did the Grizzlies contract thing come around?
And I do not cook for the entire team anymore. I only cook for Mark Saul and his family. I knew the woman that had been hired to be their nutritionist, and
That was Leslie?
yeah, Leslie Schilling. She got in touch and she's like, "Hey, I know you're doing a lot of stuff, but you might want to talk to this person." And so I reached out to the person that was coordinating all of it, and that was one of those things that I jumped into that I did not know what I was getting into. Oh God.
I had a funny conversation with her about that. And she was like, these guys, these are professional athletes, and they go through the Taco Bell drive-through
It was
multiple times a day. Like, they don't
Wow.
eat. They eat, like,
I didn't realize that.
I believe that.
yeah, they eat. She said you would be appalled at the things that these people
Well, and
eat.
it's just, like, they're just normal people. Like, they just grew up eating like we did. I mean, I used to eat Taco Bell like 3 times a week, 2-bean burritos. I love that. Don't do it anymore. But, like, they're all really young. The majority of them are pretty young. And so they're still eating like we did in our early 20s, too. Like, even though they're professional athletes.
Can still handle it.
They're huge. They're just hungry. Like, all the time hungry.
Right.
But there were so many parts of doing that was just, it was terrifying. It was really hard work. It was just so much more than you think it is looking from the outside. Working for the NBA, because that's essentially who you are working for, was scary. You don't realize it until you get there. First, it's just exciting. You're like, yeah, I'm going to cook for the Grizzlies. And like, this is all fun. And then you get there and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to see all these people. This will be so exciting. And you get there and you realize, like, holy crap, I almost said a curse word.
You did good.
I wasn't doing a good job.
My day just got that.
But you get there and then you realize, like, these guys make multiple millions of dollars. And what if I were to food poison one of them? And then you realize what would happen if that came into, like, if that happened. If I, that season, Zach Randolph. Say I fed him some undercooked chicken or something like that, and he couldn't play that night, and then we lost that game.
Oh my God.
And then they had to fly in.
You think like I do.
Well, because it's so much. It's such an operation. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes that you don't know about. And of course, I'm not, I can't talk about all of them. But what I mean is that, like, if I can say, like, if they lose a game, they're up all night. The coaches are up all night, and they're bringing in people like.
Really?
When I say coach, there's like a bazillion coaches, and they all do different things, like mental endurance coaches, or I can't even remember all of them, and there were so many, it was just mind-boggling. But they'll bring them all in, and they'll fly them from across the country, and then like one day you were not scheduled to be there the next day, and then now all of a sudden, because we lost the game, there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 60. See you tomorrow, and you could cause that. Those dominoes to fall. You could be the one that starts that process, and and the contracts and things that you had to look at would
Mike Conley's sitting out for the next 2 weeks because Bedrock fed him.
Don't say that. Do not say that. But I mean, it's a scary thing, and you don't think about it until you really get there, and then you're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, what have I done? Why did I say I was going to do this?" Now at the end of it,
because it's awesome to tell people that I cook.
It is. It was, and that part was great. And at the end of the season, strangely, like I kind of felt like, because we were about to open Bedrock, and so there was I knew I wasn't going to go back and continue to cook for the entire team. And now that, because it was a more than full-time job in addition to doing Bedrock, but because Bedrock was just a meal delivery service, I was able to like work it to where I could do both. But I knew with opening the restaurant that I wouldn't be able to go back. But when I left, as hard as it was and as weird as it was, I felt like it was like the end of summer camp. Like I felt really sad when I was leaving the training room for the last time, and I'm walking down that long hallway, and I was like, feel a little sad. Like, I miss you guys.
Did you get anything out of that? Do you think that helped your business doing that?
No.
A lot of times I think we think oh my God, if I could do something like that,
yeah,
that's going to rocket my business to the thing. And then when that thing happens, it's like, this is not really what I thought.
I got
do,
8
but-
followers on Instagram.
But
That's
then
all
you
I got.
realize that you can't. I couldn't say anything. You're not allowed to say that you're the chef for the Grizzlies.
Right.
Oh, really?
No. Like I wasn't allowed to put it on Facebook or Instagram or anything. And while like it's not, people aren't gonna know, but you can't say it publicly. Like if I were to be interviewed, I wouldn't be able. At that time, I wasn't able to say that I was the chef for the Grizzlies. So I just keep my mouth shut. No, like you don't get anything really
Right.
from it outside of the experience of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course now like we're downtown, so the staff, and all of them still come in and eat and all of that. So you don't want to not have those connections. They're wonderful to have, and they're great people, and I'm glad to know them, and I'm glad I did it. But no, I don't think it skyrocketed my business in any way.
Did you have the brick and mortar store when you were cooking for the?
No, we were when I
Grizzlies?
left. Then like at the end of that season, we were 1 month away from opening.
Was that in the works the whole time you were working with the Grizzlies? Or
Uh-huh.
what I guess my question is, at what point did you say, you know what, I'm going to get a store downtown and I'm going to go all out?
I don't remember, honestly, like because it was such a long process, way longer than it was supposed to be. The process started while I was there, but that season was so much longer than everybody expected it to be, and it stretched for so many months. Playoffs, we were in the playoffs that year, and then they have
Probably because they were eating so well.
Yeah.
right. No,
That's what it was.
I don't know that I turned anybody's leaf, or anything, but at the end of that season, like they still have postseason, and it goes on for forever and ever. So I don't even think I was finished until October. I don't remember. It's been so long. It feels like a lifetime ago at this point. But probably around halfway through, we were like, it's time. We had some things go down at the place that we were at, and we
That
knew.
you can't tell us, or that you can tell us?
Well, I mean, I could. I'm not going. I can say it in a general way, but I don't want to trash talk any other businesses. That just some weirdness happened. I didn't own Bedrock before. it's a weirdly long story that I don't think anybody cares about. But
It can't be any worse than Vaughn's horror movie
right,
story. that
I
he
don't
told.
think it could get that bad. But no, we just had a.
Haters gonna hate.
Look at Vaughn shaking his head like, yeah.
I'm sorry. I still want to know the good restaurants.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, if you want to hear the good restaurants, you have
I
to
know I
listen
had
to
to
the
have
rest
to
of
be
the story.
super nice. That was a great story, Vaughn. It was wonderful. No, we had a parent company, and that parent company had requested that we change the percentage that we were paying them in order to use their facility as a delivery location. And that percentage was so incredibly high that it wasn't something that was even possible.
One of those things where they saw how well you were doing, so they
I-
wanted a bigger piece of the pie.
Maybe
kind of thing.
maybe that's what happened. But honestly, in the end, it was all great, and it was everything that it should have been, because I don't know that I ever would have left, and I never would have taken full ownership of Bedrock had that not happened, because I'm really bad about getting comfortable in situations, and we were comfortable, and I knew that we were profitable and everything was good. And so there was not really any reason for me to want to branch out and open a restaurant. That was super scary. And so I didn't know how I felt about that. But then I got pissed off. And then, of course,
That helps to get things
it
done.
does. I swear, pissing me off, I just will work so hard to make sure that we're successful, just because I just want to throw it in your face. Yeah, screw you.
Right.
We're still doing good.
I get that.
But so at that point, it was necessary for us to find a new place and to not be there anymore, not be associated with them anymore.
You guys have a great location on South Main.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's awesome.
And we
you
got in there
you
before.
probably know most of your clients on some level, do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it's not like they're all, we have the online business, but then there's the shop too, but they mix and intermingle. But I'm there every day. I'm not a business owner that's not inside of her business, with her hands on it every day. I'm literally there every day. I'm on the line. I'm cooking every day.
Has being profitable ever caused any resentment? Do you ever have people that feel like, well, we're friends, we shouldn't have to pay for...
No,
this
I maybe I'm just lucky, but I feel like I've gotten the opposite. People almost insist on paying. They don't want me to feel like I have to give them something, and it's like that argument when you go out to eat with your parents, and you're like, I'm paying. And so that happens a lot at Bedrock.
That
They'll
is
go
so
up front,
good.
and I'll have to tell my counter people, do not let them pay. I'm telling you right now, fire you if you let them pay. Don't let them pay. And then I can see them up front arguing back and forth. No. I feel like people that eat the way that the people in my restaurant eat, a lot of times they are just really thankful to have a place to go. Whether they have celiac disease or we cater to a lot of people with a lot of other allergies just because we can a lot of times. And I feel like it's really sad when somebody can't go out to eat. That's fun. And so I'd like for them to have a place to come to. And so we do our
awesome.
best to make sure that everybody has a place to go have fun and eat. If you have nut allergies, God, that's the one thing I can't do, because we are paleo and we use almond flour. I feel like I am the most dangerous restaurant for you to come eat at. But I'll still try. If you have your EpiPen, we'll go. But so I feel like our people are, our customer base is just, they're great and they are grateful. And so we don't have that problem.
I was talking to a gym owner this morning about the, people just complain.
Mm-hmm.
People complain about a lot of things, and she sells, individual items on the protein powders and the
Sure.
pre-workouts and things like that, and that, people complain about, well, I could go buy this online and pay the same amount.
Yeah.
Well, right. Or you could contribute to the thing that you believe in and the gym that you're a part of.
Sure.
And either pay that price, or I'll pay the $1 extra so I don't have to go home and get all.
Yeah, there's a
online or
convenience
whatever.
fee and all that stuff. That
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a shame that that's the way so many people are, that they just don't get the fact that I have a business doesn't mean that it's now free for you.
Right.
It means that I would appreciate your support,
Yes.
because owning a business is hard.
No, and I get we get different types of complaints. We use some plastic products in the shop, and we do get we get stuff like that, and I understand, I get it, and I would love to be able to do everything the perfect way, but when it comes down to it, like we have food costs and I have employees to pay, and we're able to keep Bedrock's price point at an affordable level because we do some other things that bring our costs down just a little bit. Like our food cost is 10% higher than any other restaurant I've ever known. But we have a very small amount of employees that do a whole lot of different things. We all work a lot. We work really hard, and that's why I'm there every day with no paycheck to make sure that all of these things can get done and costs can be controlled. So I don't feel like I would do well with that type of a customer. I just wouldn't have a response that should be said out loud. You know, like if you come to me and you're like, well, I could make this at home for cheaper. Okay.
Right.
Feel free.
Do it. I'm happy
Go
to.
home
I'm
and
happy
make
to
it
give
and
you
stay
the
there.
recipe. You know, like if you want to go home and make it, but we're more about the experience and coming in and letting somebody else do it for you. I don't feel like anybody should be going out to eat every single day of the week, but you know, come see us once a week. Like we'd love to be able to cook for you and give you this, and you not have to go and buy the 14 different things that it took to go into your waffle. So I promise it's not as much fun as you think it is to cook it at home.
Amanda and I did Whole30 a couple of times, and for one, it's expensive to get
God, so
to get
expensive.
started. Like if you're going to cook something, you got to go buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going to make like one sitting's worth of something with almond flour.
Yeah,
You know, you got to buy the whole bag.
and that stuff's expensive.
And two, we did like most people. I assume most people probably do Whole30, which was we made it through 30 days of hell.
Mm-hmm.
We were just starting to date, so you know it's easy to keep a diet when you're
Trying to look
newly
good.
in love. You know, there's nothing sexy about eating pizza on the couch and
What?
laying around.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And so we did our 30 days and then went immediately to the Italian restaurant and ate a bunch of junk and never looked back.
Did you break your stomach?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
I do that
Because
every
that's
Sunday.
what I do.
I know. I feel you.
I do it a lot.
I do. Or, I mean, I do it every Sunday.
Your people, are they mostly CrossFit people?
Not as much as you'd think. I feel like, I mean, of course, we have a strong CrossFit community. My boyfriend owns a gym that is directly down the street from my restaurant, which is wonderful, and I love all of those people. And we have people from all of the CrossFit gyms, of course, that'll come down to see us. But there's more of a celiacs community in the city than I knew before. Like when
That's
I first
interesting.
started
Oh,
it,
yeah.
I started this food like for my paleo buddies that were at the gym, you know, because that was the whole thing. That's where paleo started for me, was at a CrossFit gym. And so I thought those were the only crazy people that ate this way. But now finding out that that's why, like, you know, I say, like, as research changes, like, we try to grow, you know, and make sure that we're incorporating things. But I don't know that I would ever reincorporate gluten back into our menu. First of all, I don't feel like there's a reason to. Like, I don't miss it in our menu, even though I occasionally will eat gluten. I'm not gluten intolerant. But the food that we cook, it's just unnecessary. You know, and I've cooked without it for so long, I think it would even be confusing to bring it back in. But now we have such a community of people that cannot eat gluten, and they come to us specifically for that. And so I feel like it would just be a slap in their face. Like, they've been coming to us for 5 years now. Like, I would never, you know, take that away from them. And even if you tried to give them gluten-free items, if your facility's not dedicated and they have actual celiac disease, just the contact could cause them to have a reaction. So that's something I would never change.
Do you ever get people that come in off the street and sit down and eat, and they're like, "Hey, man, you got any gravy and biscuits?" Or
Oh, God.
that just don't get
Of
that-
course. Of course.
that it's a
Now,
health
we don't,
food?
if you look at the menu, like, it's in a real small type at the top that it's gluten-free, and we don't say a lot about it because we do get a lot of street traffic. We're downtown. We're on South Main.
Some
And
people would probably be turned off by it.
I
if
have had
they-
people walk out of the restaurant before they tasted a bite. They will walk out of the restaurant. This is
That's
gluten-free.
crazy.
I don't want to eat that. And that's fine. That's fine. I get it. Like,
need
that's
some
fine. There are so many restaurants on that strip, and I'm fully supportive of all of them.
Nothing better
But
than a
my
good
goodness,
gluten.
take a bite first. Let me give you something for free, and then you tell me you hate it.
Have to eat
Seriously.
some of this chicken and waffles,
Right.
and see how you feel about that.
Because I feel like most of the people, there are tons of people that come in that have no idea that we're gluten free, and they just eat and they leave, and it's, you know, that's great, and they don't need to know. you know, I mean, I think it's fun sometimes to tell them afterwards, like that waffle that you ate is not only is it gluten free, it's actually also macro balanced and healthy for you and full of protein. So you did a good job. And they have no idea, and they're happy about it.
Damn it, I wanted to eat unhealthy.
I know, right? It's like, it depends on how much butter and syrup you slather on top of it. Like, you could make it as unhealthy as you want to.
Right.
But yeah, there are tons of people that don't know, and then there are other people that find out and are not happy about it.
You still make the pizza?
I stopped.
Did you really?
I stopped because
I'm so sad.
remember I said that we just macro balanced our online menu, and pizza was not we were not able to balance that.
He crushed his
I
world.
love it. That's one of my
It
favorite
would have to be like
things.
it would have to be like a double thick crust, you know,
No,
to
like
balance
the
it out with all the
Italian
protein that was on
sausage.
top of it.
Italian sausage is so fatty that it was just difficult. There's nothing wrong with fat, of course there's not, but we're trying to make it to where, you know,
I'm just now understanding what you mean by macro.
yeah, like 40 yeah, sorry.
That's how healthy I
Finally
am.
sunk in.
Sorry.
Wilson's here.
Well, because I feel like people
Wilson's here
were
and he's healthy.
like coming and, you know, getting lots of Bedrock product, and I would see people just cleaning out the grab and go, and sometimes you feel a little twinge of guilt because they're eating our almond flour cookies like Snackwells. You're like, don't eat 12 of those.
healthy.
Yeah, those,
Yeah.
those
Like
almond
They're
peanut
healthy and
butter
don't tell me what to do.
things are really good.
Yeah.
Well, and
But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I hear what you're saying, like,
Yeah.
you know, about like you don't want them to like overdo it. But it's also the kind of thing that if they were going to go home and do that with Oreos, or
Right.
they could do it
Yes.
with your cookies,
Yeah.
then
Thank you.
your cookies are still a
True.
better choice.
But like this is the way that you have to think about it. It's not only that they're eating a fat bomb. Like if you eat 12 almond flour cookies, like, you have no idea what you've just done to your digestive system.
Right.
Like the fiber, and if you're not used to that much fat in your gut at one time, like I am, I can eat a dozen donuts and I'm fine. I have a stomach of steel. But you're just, you know, you're almost afraid for them. Like, oh my God, like please don't do that.
Will you take an
know?
informational pamphlet with
Yeah,
you
would
as
you-
you're walking out the
let's-
door?
let's
If you're going
have
to
a
buy more than 12 of
conversation.
these, I need you to have this
Right?
pamphlet.
Or like the people
Sign
like,
right here.
well, 'cause I don't preach to anybody about what they eat. You
Sure.
should eat whatever is right for your body and whatever you feel like is good. Like if you want to eat macro balance, eat macro balance. You want to be a vegan, be a vegan. Fine, don't care. Like I'm just providing a product. You can buy it or not buy it. But like when you see someone come in and they get like a bulletproof coffee, and then they order, you know, a pork enchilada omelet and a waffle, and we all know, like, you know, that you most of the time should be having that bulletproof coffee fasted, and there's a whole
Right.
a whole ideology behind a bulletproof coffee, and some people support it and some people don't, but most of the time you're not supposed to have it with an additional 60 grams of fat.
Right.
And so, but not, it's not, I'm not, I feel
not your
like
place.
it's like correcting somebody when they mispronounce something. Like most people don't want to hear what you have to say anyway. And so I feel like I'm leaving it
You just
on
go ahead
my,
and get that waffle with that bulletproof
well, and I'm leaving it
coffee
on my
and-
customer base to do their
Educate
own
themselves,
research. You know, if they ask me a question, I will love to answer it, and I'd love to like do that for them. But if they don't ask me, I feel like I just need to shut my mouth.
One thing that I wanted to get into because I was
I'm
excited.
sniffly. I'm sorry.
Excited that
That's all right. We'll blame it on Brian.
I was excited that you were coming out because Brandi and I go way back.
Way back.
Um,
So many years.
Yes, Brandi used to work with my mom at her business, and that's how I know Brandi. And
I knew his daughter like when she was an infant.
that's right. And Abby.
So, did you work with Olaf as well?
Who?
no,
No,
my
Vaughn-
mom.
Vaughn works.
Not my wife's mom. My mom.
Okay.
Olaf works for my mother-in-law.
Okay.
With my mother.
Yeah.
I got that wrong. Sorry.
And so I know where Brandi came from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I worked for my mom too at one point, and that's and you can beep it out, but that's a shitty place to work. Like
Ooh.
like you don't want to like I never wanted to be there. And so I remember when I started CrossFit, and I remember going into my mom's office one day, and I remember Brandi walking up to me and going, "Hey, tell me about this CrossFit thing, because I think I'm going to try it."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
No kidding.
yes, and so thus began
Yeah.
Brandi's journey.
Vaughn is essentially the reason that I started CrossFit. Like his old Commercial Appeal article about his, you know, losing all that weight and And
Couch to 5K or Couch 50 miles or whatever.
No, it was
No, the
it
other
was a
one.
girl that I had gone
Before
to high school
that.
with who wrote a whole article. I've got
Oh,
it
yeah,
framed
yeah,
at the
yeah.
gym.
Yeah, he's like holding rings, or you're on the
Yeah,
rings.
Yeah.
And back when we were in off of summer.
Crazy.
But
Crazy.
what's impressive about it to me is look where she is now, and I know where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
and how mind blowing
Totally.
that is. Like what's how? I mean, we're pushing an hour, but what's the biggest thing that you can share for somebody that has gone from a space where you're literally just killing yourself, like working for whoever for like you worked a lot. You worked your ass off.
Oh my God.
And so,
Oh God, that was
and you're a great employee, and so there's probably some of those qualities that got you where you are today. But how did you do it? How did you go? What flipped the switch, and what happened to bring you from that space, that place you were in, to now you're just crushing it?
That is such a question. It's one of those things that like it's so hard to put it all into a condensed amount of time, but I'll do my best. In that, I don't know that I've ever had a like when people say they have a passion for this or they have a passion for that. I don't know that I've ever really felt that way about any line of work or I love to cook. But if Bedrock failed tomorrow and I needed to go and find something else, I think my passion, the thing that I'm good at, I'm just really good at working really hard. And my passion is doing that and then doing it well, like doing a really good job, doing the best job that I can. And so I think a lot of people find, and I did, when I started CrossFit, like you grow up with the mentality, and especially for me, I was from like rural Arkansas, and you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you do all of these things, and my life wasn't necessarily going in that direction, but I did have a solid job, and I had worked it for 12 years, and I was okay with my life just continuing on in the way that it was. I feel like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes CrossFit like breaks that mold apart, and it did for me in a weird way. Like people
Definitely.
talk, yeah, like it made me a little tougher, a little stronger, and more confident that I could do more than what I was raised to expect. And I don't mean that like my parents raised me not to want to go out and do things on my own.
More bold.
But I had an idea of what life was like, and I was pretty afraid of a lot of things, but I feel like CrossFit made me less afraid. If you will flip yourself upside down and do a skin the cat, or, like if you'll jump into those things, especially at my age, I was over 30 when I started CrossFit. I feel like either you have that personality type or you don't, and I feel like the people that do, they stay with CrossFit. Some people are kind of weeded out in the beginning because they don't like to be embarrassed, or it's too scary for them, and I'm not that's perfectly fine. But for me, it just kind of it lit a spark under me. I saw all these other people doing these crazy things, and I wanted to do those, and then I realized that maybe there were some other things that I wasn't doing with my life that maybe I could try. I feel like a lot of times our generation, we do kind of feel like we're special. Like maybe we have a something we should be famous, or we should be whatever. And I don't mean it in that way. I would have been perfectly content to continue on working for someone else. And if I ever had to go back to that, okay, okay. But CrossFit just opened something up. And it gave me some opportunities that wouldn't have been there before. Like the people that are supporting my business now, a lot of them are from the OG gym that I used to go to.
Right.
And all of those people, you know how it is. Like the very first gym in Memphis, a lot of them branched out and opened new gyms. And I mean, Vaughn is talking about me, but Vaughn wasn't necessarily doing what he's doing now. CrossFit has done this for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You find a niche in that market with that community that is so incredibly supportive, that lifts you up all the time, and they do that in your business as well. so I knew when I started that they would support me and they would do everything they could to make Bedrock successful and to make it work. Knowing that was helpful, but I think just being involved in all of the crazy stuff that CrossFit makes you do, I feel like that gives you a certain strange level of confidence, and it just gives you a little boost to say, like, God dang it, like I'm gonna go ahead and try this, because I feel like every level, it's like a Nintendo game, like every level that I unlock as I go along with, owning a restaurant, and we got a food truck, and then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and every step that I take in expanding this restaurant, every single one is really, really scary, and I always feel like I'm about to die, like I'm going to have a heart attack. You're anxiety ridden. You don't even know. Like, I'm so just like you. But I feel like I've been made stronger, through CrossFit, through, endurance racing.
Comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah, like you got to get used to the pain. Owning your own business is also quite a bit of pain. I'm used to living in that cave. So
Nice.
I feel like that's where it all came from. It's putting a lot on CrossFit, but that's where it started for sure.
Sure.
It's
But-
tough to deny. I mean, there's a lot of people doing things that they wouldn't otherwise be doing if not for CrossFit.
And I was going to say, there's also like the community piece of it is like, oh yeah, I know this girl who has this restaurant Bedrock. I want to tell people about it because I work out with her. You have people that you work out with every day. That some guy might have a shop down the street that does whatever. But when somebody mentions something to you at work, you're like, oh yeah, I work out with this guy that you need to go down to check out his yard spraying thing
Sure.
or whatever,
Yeah.
like because I work out with him every day, and I want to support those people.
Yeah, it's like if
You know,
there's an attorney that's next to you and you need one for something, like you're going to use the person that you work out with. I don't know why that is. I don't know why we all do that, but we do.
Everybody likes to have a guy.
Yeah.
We all want to have a.
And there's
I know an air conditioner.
so
guy.
many different walks of life that come to your that are next to you when you work out every day. Like
And
you
I
work
suffer with that person
out. Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Right.
And they know CPR, and they can help me, and they can take me to the hospital. And there's a lot of nurses and
That's
doctors
very
and
important.
things like that do it. So that's helpful. What direction is Bedrock going? Where do you see that in 5 years?
Man.
Where do you even want to see it? In 5 years?
There are so many steps that we could take. But first, I feel like we just need to hone our skills. We need to make sure that we're doing everything right. We do have a food truck. We're trying to make that, like we've had it for about a year. That's still something that we're trying to like really get rolling. There's always the possibility for another location, but if we open another location, it will not be in the city. It will be in another city. We were actually gunning for Nashville, and then Nashville got a little more expensive, and so we're like took a step back and like let's think about that. But I don't think we'll ever franchise. I don't feel like Bedrock's mine. I mean, you all have seen it. Like it's my every part and piece of that has my blood, sweat, and tears on it. Like that is mine, and so I don't feel like I could ever give away enough control to do that. To franchise. But we are looking at an additional location, and then also we may open another concept soon.
Nice.
How important is employee retention? Is it hard to train the people, the cooks?
Anybody that owns their own business, whether it be cooks or not, employees that is the most difficult part of having a business, because nobody cares about it the same way that you do. They're like, I have some folks that have been with me from the very beginning, and I love them, and they are wonderful. But the majority of the people that come through, like they're transient. They're not planning to stay with you for forever and ever. And so while they want that paycheck, there are a lot of times when they don't care about much else.
It's unbelievable.
And so it's really hard when you care so much, and especially when you're there every day. Like I'm there and I see when you don't do something right, and poor them that they have to deal with me because I am breathing down their neck all the time. But man, employees are tough. That is the hardest part. If I could do it all on my own with my like my crew, like my OG crew, then I would totally do that. But you got to rely on other people, and that is hard. That is so hard.
I've had to deal with so many employees coming in and out of my small business, and it's unbelievable what you hear. It's unbelievable that people will work for 2 days and then let you know that they got to be off at 11 a.m. the next day. And it's like, we just talked about this for the 2 days prior to you working here. We discussed that this is a 40 to 50 hour a week job and you can't take off and blah, blah. And then they straight face look at you and they're like, I got to pick up. I got to go to court.
Yeah, text message on a Saturday morning. Like you've seen Bedrock on a Saturday. It's pretty brutal in there. Like there's like a line out the door, and it's rough. And so if you get like, and we don't have enough space to have, like, I can't have 20 employees just in case some of them don't come in. You know, we got to have a full staff. And so I have that conversation with everybody when I hire them. Like, hey, you guys, like, we're not Starbucks, like where you can sign out the days you're going to be off and we'll just cover it. You know, like, we got to know way ahead of time. And like, unless you're dying, going to the hospital, like something really traumatic has happened, you've got to show up, especially on the weekend. But you'll get that 8:30 a.m. text message when they were supposed to be there at 8:30 a.m. I have a migraine. Like, you have a what? Like, I just cut half my finger off, get to work. Like, so it's always, yeah, you could go on about that for forever and ever. But again, like, I still, like, I've been super lucky in that I have some great folks that hopefully I get to keep for a little while longer. Some of them are in school and they're close to graduating. I'm like, please stay.
If you ever need some extra
do?
help, you can call Vaughn. He fried some catfish once at a gas station around the corner.
With the wrong batter.
With the wrong batter.
That's sad.
It is sad. I was only 15, to be fair. It wasn't last year.
Our hour is up. Our time has passed. I forgot to mention the Lift Heavy Run Long app.
You did.
And our programs.
That's right.
We have an app. We have programs. $3.99 a month or $9.99 a month. For $9.99 a month, you can get all the programs that we have to offer, from 5K to 50 mile to sprint triathlons to Ironman triathlons to Spartan Beast to all of it. Vaughn has his recalibration program.
I'm starting next week.
Brian starts Monday.
I need to find my zen and get back into the workout flow.
You kind of burned out?
I'm not burned out. I just don't have the motivation to go. So I think this is a good way. Because what he was talking about, like, you know, this week all you're going to do is worry about, like, just getting to the gym. And that's all you got to worry about.
I was very hostile with you on the episode that I listened to today. And I don't know. I was like, why am I so angry about
I think you thought I was trolling you or something like that about it. And I was just trying to get you to talk more about it. But no, I'm excited about it.
I'm passionate about it. I put a lot of time into that. So anyway.
it'll be interesting.
Go to Lift Heavy Run Long and sign up for that. If you don't have any money and you need some fitness, then contact me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and we'll be happy to let you on there for free if that's what you need till you get back up on your feet. Aside from that, I don't have anything else.
What's the address of Bedrock Eats and Sweets?
327 South Main Street.
And bedrockeatsandsweets.com.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That's it.
What else we got?
I think that's it.
Lift Heavy Run Long, episode number 91 is in the books.